The secret to wealth isn't just what the rich do, it's the common money traps they avoid. Are you unknowingly making mistakes that sabotage your hard work and savings? This video exposes 7 of the most common financial traps keeping people from true wealth. To protect your journey to financial freedom, watch until the very end, and be sure to like and subscribe for more practical and powerful tips.
Trap 1. Not budgeting. For many adults in midlife, a period defined by significant financial responsibilities, the failure to maintain a budget is a silent but profound mistake. Despite a stable income, operating without a clear financial plan is like driving without a map. You are moving but with no direction, making you vulnerable to getting lost. The primary allure of this approach is a false sense of freedom, an illusion that not tracking expenses equates to a more relaxed life. In reality, this perceived liberty is a trap that relinquishes control and puts one on financial autopilot. The consequences of this habit are insidious. Without a budget, it is impossible to know where money truly goes. Small, untracked expenses, daily coffees, subscriptions, and online shopping accumulate into a significant financial drain. This is how people find themselves with empty bank accounts at the end of the month, with little to show for it, and unable to prepare for life's inevitable shocks, such as medical bills or car repairs. More importantly, this lack of oversight makes achieving long-term goals like a secure retirement or funding a child's education nearly impossible. The most common misconception about budgeting is that it is restrictive. The opposite is true. A budget is not a cage, it is a tool of empowerment. It serves as a blueprint that allows you to tell your money where to go, rather than wondering where it went. This practice isn't about deprivation, but about intentionality, allocating funds to what you truly value, whether that is savings, investments, or guilt-free entertainment. This is why the most financially successful individuals are often the most disciplined budgeters. They understand that a budget is essential for building and preserving wealth. Getting started is simpler than most imagine. It does not require complex software or financial expertise. A simple spreadsheet or a user-friendly app like Mint or YNAB is sufficient. The process involves 4 key steps: tracking all income and expenses, categorizing them, creating a spending plan that aligns with your goals, and reviewing it regularly. This small investment of time provides invaluable clarity and control. In middle age, the margin for financial error shrinks, and the cost of inaction is high. The comfort of not budgeting today is a direct trade for instability and anxiety tomorrow. By creating and adhering to a budget, you are not just managing your present, you are actively building a foundation for a secure and prosperous future, one where you are in control of your financial destiny.
Trap 2. Emotional spending. Emotional spending is one of the most deceptive financial traps, particularly for adults in middle age. Driven not by need, but by feelings, stress, boredom, or a desire for a reward, this habit offers fleeting relief at the cost of long-term financial stability. It is a coping mechanism disguised as a treat, and its consequences can be profoundly damaging. The cycle often begins innocently, a small purchase to lift one's spirits. However, when this becomes the default response to emotional distress, it creates a destructive pattern. The temporary comfort of a new purchase quickly gives way to regret and anxiety when the credit card bill arrives. The item bought to soothe a momentary feeling becomes a lingering source of debt. This is because decisions made in an emotional state bypass rational thought, leading to purchases that are neither needed nor affordable. This habit is particularly destructive in middle age, a time when life's pressures are immense and financial planning is critical. Each dollar spent emotionally is a dollar not invested in retirement, saved for a child's education, or used to pay down debt. The problem is compounded by self-justification. Phrases like, "I deserve this," mask the underlying issue, allowing the behavior to continue unchecked. Over time, this doesn't just erode a bank account, it chips away at mental well-being, creating a cycle of spending, guilt, and helplessness. The solution lies not in deprivation, but in awareness. Breaking free begins with learning to pause before purchasing. When the urge to spend strikes, ask a simple question. Am I trying to fill a need, or am I trying to fill an emotional void? Often, non-financial alternatives like a walk, a conversation with a friend, or even a good night's sleep can provide more lasting comfort. A more strategic approach is to budget for indulgence. By creating a dedicated, personal spending category, you can enjoy life's pleasures with intention and without guilt. This transforms spending from an impulsive reaction into a deliberate choice. Breaking the cycle of emotional spending is more than just a financial strategy. It is a path to gaining control over both your emotions and your future. It delivers not just a healthier bank account, but invaluable peace of mind. Trap 3. Credit card debt. Among the most destructive financial traps for middle-aged adults is credit card debt. The perceived convenience of credit, offering rewards, cash back, and the ability to buy now and pay later, masks a perilous reality. When used irresponsibly, this convenience morphs into a ticking time bomb of high-interest debt that can systematically dismantle financial freedom. The mechanics of this trap are insidious. Unlike fixed-term loans, credit cards carry sky-high interest rates, often exceeding 20% or even 30% annually. This creates a vicious cycle where unpaid balances compound rapidly. The minimum payment requirement is particularly deceptive. It primarily services the interest, barely touching the principal. This means that you can pay for months or even years while making negligible progress on your actual debt, effectively throwing money away just to stay afloat. The consequences extend far beyond the immediate financial loss. Persistent credit card debt devastates your credit score, a critical metric that dictates your ability to secure future loans for a home, car, or business. A poor score leads to higher interest rates on all future borrowing, creating a long-term financial handicap that inflates the cost of living for years to come. Your past financial decisions begin to actively work against your future. This danger is amplified in midlife. With less time to recover from financial mistakes, significant debt becomes a direct roadblock to critical life goals. It siphons away funds that should be allocated to retirement savings, a child's education, or paying down a mortgage. For many, the stress of juggling life's expenses leads to a reliance on credit for everyday needs, which slowly snowballs into an unmanageable burden, threatening both financial stability and peace of mind. Escaping this trap requires immediate and disciplined action. The first step is to stop accumulating new debt by switching to cash or a debit card. Next, implement a strategic repayment plan, such as the avalanche method, targeting the highest interest card first, or the snowball method, clearing the smallest balances to build momentum. Consolidating debt or using a 0% APR balance transfer card can also provide temporary relief and a strategic advantage. Ultimately, getting out of credit card debt is one of the most powerful investments you can make, not just for your finances, but for a future defined by freedom, not burden.
Trap 4 is buying new cars too often. In today's consumer-driven culture, where personal image is often measured by the car you drive, many middle-aged Americans fall into a financial trap that seems harmless but is incredibly costly, frequently buying new cars every time a new model hits the market. What feels like a well-deserved reward after years of hard work may actually be quietly draining your financial stability at an alarming pace. The moment a brand new car rolls off the dealership lot, it instantly loses 10 to 20% of its value, often within seconds. Over the next 3 years, that depreciation can climb to as much as 50%. That means if you buy a $40,000 new car today, it might be worth only $20,000 in just 36 months. Not because of damage or wear, but simply because that's how the auto market works. What drives this habit is usually not necessity, but the allure of staying current, being swayed by advertising, or chasing the excitement of something new. Yet the financial consequences are very real. With each upgrade, you're absorbing a massive depreciation hit, paying higher taxes, registration fees, insurance premiums, and often interest charges if you're not paying in full. But this isn't just about losing money, it's about losing opportunity. If instead of upgrading every 2 to 3 years, you kept your car for 5 to 7 years, the money saved from depreciation could be redirected into more meaningful long-term goals, contributing to a retirement fund, investing in the stock market, or building a college savings account for your kids. Over time, those dollars could generate real wealth instead of vanishing into a rapidly depreciating asset. Let's break it down. Suppose someone buys a new $35,000 vehicle every 2 to 3 years. After 3 years, that car typically loses nearly half its value, around $17,000. If they repeat this cycle over 15 years, they could lose between $85,000 and $100,000 just to depreciation, not including added costs like higher insurance or loan interest. That's enough for a down payment on a condo, a college tuition fund, or a long-term investment that produces stable passive income. For those in their 40s and 50s, this stage of life is critical for reinforcing financial security before retirement. Rather than chasing the latest model, focus on long-term utility and cost-effectiveness. Today's cars are engineered to run reliably for 10 years or more with proper maintenance. That means you can hold on to a car for 7 to 10 years without major issues and save tens of thousands of dollars. There's nothing wrong with loving cars or enjoying the feeling of a brand new ride, but trading in vehicles too frequently is not a sign of financial success. It's a subtle form of financial self-sabotage. True financial freedom isn't about driving something flashy. It's about making disciplined, intelligent decisions that build long-term security. If you truly need a new vehicle, consider buying a gently used model that's 2 to 3 years old and has already gone through the steepest part of depreciation. It's a smart way to save thousands while still getting a reliable and high-quality car. At this stage in life, when every financial choice impacts your retirement timeline, your lifestyle, and your family's future, avoiding the trap of frequent car upgrades isn't just a smart move, it's an investment in your future. Because in the end, a car is just a means of transportation, but financial freedom is the real destination.
Trap 5. Not investing. At some point in everyone's financial journey, saving alone stops being enough. Especially for those in middle age, when time is no longer an unlimited asset, not investing becomes one of the most silent yet dangerous financial traps. You might be working hard, diligently setting aside money into a savings account, believing you're being responsible. But in reality, letting your money sit idle in a low-interest account could be quietly eroding your purchasing power day by day. Many people in their 40s and 50s lean toward what feels like absolute safety, stashing money in the bank to avoid risk. But the greatest risk may be in that very sense of safety. With inflation in the U.S. averaging around 3 to 4% annually, and savings account interest rates typically hovering around 0.5 and 1.5%, your money is losing value in real terms every year. The longer it sits untouched, the less it will buy tomorrow. Not investing means missing out on the very thing that fuels wealth, growth. While others are putting their money to work through stocks, bonds, index funds, or real estate, your money is just sitting still and slowly losing ground. The impact may not feel immediate, but over 1 or 2 decades, the gap between those who invest and those who don't becomes massive. Consider this. Someone at age 45 has $100,000 in savings. If they park it in a bank account with a 1% annual interest rate, in 20 years, they'll have about $122,000. But if that same person invests in a broad market index fund like the S&P 500, which historically returns an average of 7% annually after inflation, that money could grow to nearly $387,000. That's a difference of over $260,000, simply because one person let their money sleep while the other let it work. For those in midlife, this isn't just about wealth building, it's about retirement readiness. Retirement could last 20, 30, or more years. Without investments working behind the scenes, you could find yourself retired but short on funds, relying heavily on Social Security or your children, and losing the independence you hope to enjoy in your later years. But investing doesn't mean you have to go all in on risky stocks. Today, there are safe, flexible options designed for people in midlife. Diversified ETFs, U.S. Treasury bonds, IRAs and 401k plans, or low-cost robo-advisors. The most important thing is to start now, to harness the power of compound interest, what Einstein once called the eighth wonder of the world. Don't let fear or lack of knowledge keep you from moving forward. Start small, educate yourself, talk to a financial advisor, use beginner-friendly investing apps. Explore simple time-tested strategies like the 60-40 portfolio, which is 60% stocks, 40% bonds, or dollar-cost averaging, where you invest steadily over time regardless of market ups and downs. You don't need to time the market perfectly. You just need to stay in it long enough. In a world where the cost of everything keeps rising, not investing means falling behind. If your goal is to retire comfortably, provide for your family, or simply live without financial anxiety, then your money needs to start working for you today, because time is your most valuable asset, and once it's gone, no amount of money can buy it back.
Trap 6. Buying a home beyond your means. For many, owning a home represents the pinnacle of the American dream, a symbol of stability and success. This dream, however, can quickly sour into a financial nightmare when one buys a house more than they can comfortably afford. This trap, particularly common among middle-aged adults, is often driven by social pressure and emotional decisions rather than sound financial logic. The danger of an oversized mortgage is not just the monthly payment itself, but the host of ancillary costs that come with it. Property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance and repairs, and higher utility bills can add thousands of dollars to annual expenses, a reality often overlooked in the excitement of a purchase. This overextension is frequently fueled by a desire to upgrade or keep pace with peers, leading families to stretch their finances to the breaking point. The result is a state of being house poor, where the dream home becomes a financial prison. The consequences are profound and far-reaching. When the majority of one's income is consumed by housing costs, there is little left for other essential financial goals. Contributions to retirement funds are reduced, college savings for children are postponed, and the creation of a vital emergency fund becomes nearly impossible. Every dollar overcommitted to the house is a dollar not working to build long-term wealth. This constant financial strain takes a significant mental and emotional toll, transforming a place of comfort into a source of perpetual anxiety. The key to avoiding this trap lies in a disciplined, logical approach, anchored by the principle of comfortable affordability. Financial experts recommend that total housing costs should not exceed 28 to 30% of gross monthly income. Before purchasing a home, one must honestly ask, am I buying this for my needs or to project an image? A modest home that fits within a budget provides something a luxury mansion cannot: peace of mind.
True financial freedom is not found in the size of one's house, but in the security and control that come from living comfortably within one's means.
Trap 7. Not having an emergency fund. Living without an emergency fund is one of the most precarious financial traps, especially for adults in midlife. It is the equivalent of walking a financial tightrope without a safety net, a silent gamble against life's inevitable uncertainties. While many appear financially stable on the surface, they are often just one unexpected event, a job loss, a medical bill, or a major car repair, away from a crisis. When that crisis strikes, the lack of a cash buffer forces desperate and destructive choices. People are compelled to turn to high-interest credit cards, borrow from friends and family, or raid their retirement savings. These short-term fixes create long-term problems, initiating a vicious cycle of debt and stress that systematically derails progress toward financial goals. A single unexpected expense can undermine years of hard work, damaging credit scores and eroding the very foundation of one's financial security. The antidote to this instability is a dedicated emergency fund, typically holding 3 to 6 months' worth of essential living expenses. This money should be kept in the liquid, easily accessible savings account, entirely separate from investment portfolios. Its purpose is not to generate wealth, but to provide immediate protection when it is needed most. This buffer is especially critical in middle age, when the time to recover from financial setbacks is significantly shorter. Beyond its financial function, an emergency fund is an investment in peace of mind. Knowing you have a cushion allows you to respond to challenges with calm, strategic thinking rather than panicked, reactive decisions. This mental and emotional freedom is invaluable, enabling you to navigate difficult times without compromising your long-term vision. Building this safety net does not require a sudden windfall. It can be achieved by starting small and consistently contributing to it as a non-negotiable part of your budget. It is the foundation upon which true financial security is built, transforming vulnerability into resilience. You now know the 7 financial traps to avoid. The good news is you can start making changes today. Like and subscribe so you don't miss our practical financial tips. Ready for the next step? We'll be exploring 5 investments that are safer than cash and how smart people are quietly growing wealth with them. Don't forget to comment below with your perspective, and I'll see you in the next video.